Welcome in or welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a reading, just a random kind of reading, and we're going to be going over some little news stuff and updates or whatever. Okay? So to start off with, we have here, so in my reading I did, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, the cypress tree roots came up a bunch, which cypress tree roots are in my book I have here, which is where I got that from, where I wrote it on the card, is talking about using it for, let's see, grief, like if you're going through grief, also defense. I'm not sure what else. Whatever. Anyway, so okay. And then I looked it up, and like on the Googles, it says gives us the sign that says we are facing our fears and learning to navigate the undercurrents that surround us. It can also indicate that we are connected to a very deep part of ourselves that needs further explanation and understanding. And I find it interesting, the cherry trees here, which if you've watched my other videos, I divulged how that used to be my nickname, was XO Cherries, XO. This book won't, hold on. So, cherry is a highly fertile tree and reminds you that there will always be an opportunity to start from the beginning. If you want to increase nurturing for your soul, you must learn to recognize when the trees you pick from are becoming barren. Ain't that some shit, eh? Like, wow. What a full circle there, considering everything I've been talking about. Okay, so next we're going to do the word of the day. Forgiving is on the top. Let's see what... And then when I split the deck, dishonest and cross. On the bottom, spontaneous. We're not really into forgiveness. You can forgive people if you'd like to, but I believe that forgiveness is actually signing up for their karma. It's a false contract. You know, you do something fucked up, you don't really deserve forgiveness. You need to forgive yourself. But the way that you forgive yourself is by making amends, by making it right. The best way that you can without violating the other party in any way, shape, or form. Like, not forcing your amends on them. You know what I mean? Like, what you perceive as amends. Having an understanding of what they perceive as amends and going for that. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. It's also just growing, healing, and evolving is true forgiveness. You can do honor to those and things that you've done wrong by growing, healing, and evolving. Okay? Alright, what's next? So next on the agenda, we got An Apple a Day Keeps the Demiurge Away by Morgan Fishel. I find this hilarious because he looks basically just like somebody I grew up with whose name is Phil Shank. And, oh, okay, what was that? Is that a gnat that just flew in my face? Oh, you don't want me to say it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna say it anyway, so. Yeah, that's a gnat. Yeah, it's just very strange. Phil used to, you know, hold on, let me see here. Who's saying yes? The last person anyone would expect is saying yes for me to say it. And it's in reverse. So it's the person everyone would expect. The next person saying maybe yes. Who's that? A thief in reverse. Okay. And the person saying no. A cheapskate in reverse. We don't like cheapskates, but... Alright, it's fine. We'll try to have this forgiving energy or whatever. But in the way that I'm saying, okay? But I will say, this is something, you know, that I literally said to Phil. Or, I made a video of it. I think it's on my IG. An apple a day keeps Satan away, or something. I said some shit like that, and I made a video, and then Phil commented in there and said, like, lame or some shit. So I think it's funny that this guy said that. I have no problem with this guy. I think he's got pretty great content. I don't really have any problem with any of the stuff he said. I don't really watch him that much, so I'm not, you know, 100% privy on all of his beliefs and whatnot. Recently, I've come to this kind of revelation about the whole Demiurge and Sophia thing, because that kind of just popped up out of nowhere. And people have said it's like this ancient stuff, which I'm not buying it. From my experience with Sophia, which was extremely strange, I would say that, you know, what I have said in the past, and I still stand by this, is most of the time, anytime the mainstream's trying to push a narrative on you about something being evil, most likely it's the opposite of that. Okay? So, like, the demiurge that Sophia birthed, or whatever, creating Earth and being evil, if you've watched any of my previous stuff, or seen my content on IG... Oops. Okay. Hold on. I posted a story that I wrote as a child of what heaven looks like. And, in that story, it says something about, I think we all know that Jesus created the earth. So it's interesting that as a child, and they say, you know, children know. They're born aware. They know best or whatever. I always, you know, was very into religion and Jesus and, you know, the Most High and all of that. The angels. So yeah, I find that interesting. And then, you know, they're saying the demiurge is this evil creature that keeps everyone, you know. And then they say that the demiurge is this, like, cat. It's like a half cat, half serpent or something. And if you've been following along with all of my lore that I've shared and everything, there's the ghost figurine and the lion with the wings. So, but then, you know, and then they say that, you know, God is like, the Most High is the lion or whatever. So it's like, you know, just all this contradictory crap. So whatever. Anyway, all right, next. Oh, this is just a reading I was watching, and something about this angel frees prisoners, which My Birth Angels is all about that. Then these are some news things that I highlighted here. I think I've talked about this before, I'm not sure. That for the first time in global legal history, a country has recognized the legal rights of insects and is the stingless bees of... I didn't get the rest of it, but I think it's... I want to say India, but I think I'm wrong with it. It's one of the rainforests? I don't know. A $1.8 billion Oh, big boom, energetic boom just came through here. A $1.8 billion AI data center is coming to this tiny New Jersey town. I live in New Jersey, so I find this interesting. What's that about, Spirit? Broken bone in reverse. Have a great time. Okay. If you say so. Alright. What's next? Oh, this I found really interesting. Big 2026 World Cup updates and rule changes. As above, so below. As within, so without. World Cup, I was recently talking about the Holy Grail. Keeps coming up in my readings past couple days. The Golden Chalice, you know, all that. FIFA is increasing the total prize money for the 2026 World Cup to $871 million and securing a tax exemption for teams. I find that interesting with the team thing because, like I've said, I was guided by the Most High to that I needed a co-pilot or whatever, right? For my ship, okay? Or I needed a pilot. Actually, what I've come to realize, it's not co-pilot, it's a pilot. I'm the navigator, they would be the pilots. That's what it is. Because, like, when you're on it, when you have a crew, those are the two main ones you need, is the pilot and the navigator, right? But you need other people as well. So, like, you know, that's why I added the River Rocks, which is, like, the team members. I recently added I found 3 more River Rocks, so I added 3 more. So now there's 7. Now there's 7 crew members, plus the pilot and the navigator. Okay? New rules for the tournament include stricter red cards. I'm not sure what that would mean translated to the other dimensions. What is that talking about, Spirit? Can you... Sports car in reverse. So something about travel, something about people's vehicles. They keep messing with my vehicle all the time. My vehicle is about to be completely crapped out, so if you don't see me, it's probably because my car blew up, so, or whatever else, I don't know. Alright, while ticket resale for Toronto matches is paused to meet local price caps. While ticket resale for Toronto matches. Toronto is, isn't that in Canada? Is paused to meet local price caps. A lot of people that I follow, that I would actually consider to be on my team are from Canada, interestingly enough. Alright, anyway. So that, you know, that's that. Psychology says people who grew up in the 1970s with no scheduled activities, no structured play dates, and no parental blah, blah, blah. I didn't get to see the rest of this, but I'm guessing that it's going to talk about saying that they are smarter than other people. They're more creative, something like that. Yeah. I would say, like, okay, I would consider myself to be pretty intelligent. Like, objectively speaking, because of what I've put out, what I've accomplished. I haven't accomplished much in the standards or the eyes of probably most people, but to me, what I consider accomplishments given my circumstances is pretty fucking good, okay? And so, you know, I grew up like with no supervision, basically, just total wild child. But then I got taken away from my family, from my immediate family, and put into the care of extended family. And then it was extremely strict. I still had freedom though. Like when I went outside, nobody really watched me when I went outside. But I was just playing in the yard, in the woods behind the house. No one supervised me, but if I went back inside, I had to stay inside. I wasn't allowed to like go inside and go back out. So, and then there was extremely strict inside. And then another extended family member was like, it's kind of the same thing. So it was like a mixture of both, I would say. I think is the recipe for that. Okay. What is this? Discipline first, finish important tasks without stress, or I don't know what that is. Supreme Court limits reach of the Voting Rights Act, and here's, people are really like slamming stuff. Jesus. Fuck off. Okay. Supreme Court limits reach of the Voting Rights Act, and here's arguments over temporary protected status. Not sure what that's about. I didn't click on it because it's a lot of it is signing up for contracts, demon contracts. When you click on things, especially if it asks you to like agree to it or whatever. I rebuke all that in the Most High, name of the Most High, Elohim and Adonai, and the Holy Ghost is with the Mostest. Okay, but so if I were to just guess, as it would be translated theoretically or metaphorically or on the other realms, right? I would say, you know what? Let's see. Actually, what voting rights pertaining to what exactly? Oh, fell on the floor. Conflict between values and financial necessity. Yeah, that's a big one. It's on the bottom. Restoring one's name or reputation. Creating or discovering something important. Yeah, because they're preventing, like, great minds, I would say. Innovative spirits. Leaders. From doing anything by financially restraining them, blacklisting them, blocking them from literally everything, and then siphoning off of them and stealing all their blessings. And Spirit says, I don't even hate you. That would imply I cared. That's what Spirit has to say about, you know, all the people doing all that fucked up shit, okay? Alright, so next. Oh. Wait, yeah. The United Arab Emirates is quitting OPEC oil cartel after nearly 60 years. Again, I don't know what this is all about, but I will say, anybody quitting anything to do with oil is a thumbs up from me. This pleases the Dark Sith Lord. Okay? My delivery was shit there, but you get it. You get the point. Alright. So... Yeah, we got malefic giver to those of the light. Yeah. So, it's like, you know, making people that aren't of the, that aren't about the, siphoning and the cruelty and the exploitation and all this other shit, right? The abuse, the neglect, the murder. The people that aren't for that are getting forced. They're being forced to be given this malefic energy, these resources that are malefic in nature. They're being forced to use them. They're being forced to deal with them. All right, next, Apple co-founder Ronald Wayne, whose stake would be worth up to $400 billion. Oh, you know what? Let's call justice on that. Hold on. Let's call justice on that. In the reverse, okay. Ancestral court, your lineage receives healing, inherited injustices dissolve. So when we're talking in the justice deck, there are no justices denied. So if it comes in the blocked, or what some people refer to as the block position, it means it's in the process, okay? If it's in the reverse, it means it's already been enacted. If it's in the upright, it means it's in the process. It's in the beginning stages of being enacted, okay? So in this way, it's like in the process of being enacted. Upright, it's in the beginning stages. In the reverse, it's already been enacted. I just felt like a surge of energy enter into my left foot. And then a loud car kind of whizzing by. Alright, so inherited injustices dissolve. Okay, cool. So that was pertaining to the voting rights situation that we were just talking about. Alright, Apple co-founder Ronald Wayne, whose stakes would be worth up to $400 billion had he not sold it in 1976. A lot of this 70s crap is coming up. That came up in, I was watching a episode of the Near Death Diary podcast yesterday that I hadn't seen. It was like they went to some graveyard, and then the first thing they heard, or it wasn't the first thing. I had watched like the very beginning part maybe a week ago or something like that, and then I fell asleep, and then I was watching the rest yesterday, and the very first thing was something about 1973, and then there was like an angry woman, and then Deadeye kept saying like he sensed that she was like being oppressed and she couldn't speak. Some man was like keeping her from speaking, and it made him like physically ill. And I just found that so crazy considering everything I've been talking about. I'm like, wow. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on with this 1970s energy. Something's just like kind of rattling and like almost tapping. Okay. So, whose stake would be worth up to $400 billion had he not sold it? So, what is this about? Spirit? Let's see. What is this specific Apple thing about? And then we got the Apple earlier with the morgue official, and then somebody else was talking about the intuitive heart chick, the blonde chick with the glasses. Talks about the curator all the time. She was bringing up something about the apple. And then we got, you know, the wicked stepmother from Snow White with the apple. I haven't eaten an apple in a long time, to be honest. Every time I get apples, they're like rotten. they just don't taste right. Most of the shit I get doesn't taste right, and it's like rotten. All has like no flavor, just devoid of nutrients, you know. I really want to just become breatharian. I wish I could. I'm trying. I'm gonna try harder. I don't know. I'm still on my health journey. I'm figuring it out. Alright, what is this apple thing about, Spirit? With this guy, or with everybody, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Bottom of the deck, empty nest grief and identity loss. Top of the deck, conflict between values and financial necessity in reverse, so there is no conflict with it because oh, so maybe this is kind of what kind of caused it. Wayne, interesting, like Bruce Wayne. So maybe he's like a Batman kind of guy. He was maybe for the people, and then he sold his stake, and that caused a lot of evil stuff to happen. Moral injury from acting against one's conscience. Yeah. Alright, next. Oh. Yeah, I was trying... Okay, I was having problems trying to screenshot. Oh no, this is because I turned my phone, and so I could get the whole headline. But I can't turn my phone... If I turn my phone now, it's just going to be, like... Whatever, you can see it. Okay. Chinese delegate urges U.S. to promptly settle outstanding contributions as U.S. demands readjustment of NPT funding sharing mechanism. So... Excuse me, hold on. Had to do a nasty spiritual burp there. Okay. So, Chinese delegate urges U.S. to promptly settle outstanding contributions as U.S. demands readjustment of NPT funding sharing mechanism. Okay. So, my first thought with this was like, okay, so, because I know I had said in my previous videos when I asked the Most High, the spirit, universe, whatever, you know, what do we need? Who do we need to work with? What is the blockage? What do we need? Who do we need to work with to solve this end of the world situation? Okay, because like that's what kind of started my whole thing recently with everything I've been posting. Okay, I was given this message about the end of the world. Okay, so China came up. Okay, so I found that interesting that in the news lately it's been like a lot of stuff with China and like trying to get along with them and work with them now, which I find really interesting. And in my past videos I've explained that like as soon as I found that out, then all of a sudden this video popped up from this YouTuber that I follow that I found 3 years ago at my first awakening, and then stopped following them because I got like confused about some stuff, and then recently and then when that happened with the China thing, all of a sudden they popped up. It was very strange what happened. You're gonna have to, if you don't know, you're gonna have to get caught up. Go watch my videos. Otherwise, like, it is what it is, okay? If you want the deets, I'm not gonna just keep repeating myself. Alright, Chinese, I don't have time for that either. I gotta hurry up. Chinese delegate urge. Okay, so what I was getting with this was like promptly settle outstanding contributions. So like for people that have been exploited, to promptly settle those accounts. But U.S. is demanding readjustment of NPT funding, which I find hilarious because my initials are in there, TN, and then the P. I'm like, who's P? Somebody robbed, who robbed Peter to pay Paul? Somebody robbed Peter to pay Paul, something like that, maybe, but I don't really, There's nobody in my life that's significant in that way. The only other thing I can think of is if you flip the P, it's a D. There's a few D's of significance. So, and I was already shown, like, the whole thing with the Twin Towers. And they were siphoning the grid of a powerful energetic being from California. And that's how they were able to hack into the reality construct, which was built into the Twin Towers. Which the Twin Towers was like the lovers, like the main ones or whatever. And, you know, like that's on the other side of the country. And I could see the smoke from where I was. Alright, anyways. So, there's something like with that. And that's just a theory I have. Okay, I'm not saying any of that's like, you know, 100%, but there's something there. There's something there to that. So anyway, a readjustment of this, whatever the MPT is, right? Funding sharing mechanism. So like they're saying essentially like, well, we're not 100% responsible for exploiting these people or the, you know, whatever this is, or, you know, taking this money or whatever it is, you know what I mean? We're not the only ones responsible. It needs to be fair. That's what they're saying, I think. All right. Next, then we got lost New Testament pages recovered after 1,500 years. I didn't click on it. I don't know what that's about. Let's see. Women's rights. That's hilarious that popped up. Women's rights. Yeah. I'm sure it does say something in there, or it would if this was true, whatever it is. It's artnet.news. Artnet news. I don't know why I said .news, but artnet news. My name's Artemuse. Artnet news. Artemuse. Okay. Iconic sombrero galaxy captured in incredible detail. And by the way, like, I'm not trying to sound like egotistical or whatever, but you know what? Go watch Unite the Collective's last video. You know, there's planetary stabilizers, there's architects, there's stuff like that on this planet. I'm not the only one, but you know, there's other ones too. And also, like, you know, this is also to teach everybody, like, pay attention to what you're being shown. Pay attention to the anagrams, the signs and symbols, and how you're involved. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has, you know, a role to play. And it's like, what's really going on? I don't know. Maybe open your mind to the possibilities. It doesn't mean that it's 100% true, but it could be, and that's, you shouldn't close yourself off to it, because then that prevents a pathway from being open to you, right? Alright, iconic sombrero galaxy captured in incredible detail. Detail, I like saying detail. Revealing its enormous glowing halo. I just found this interesting. I did run a fire trial yesterday with the cowboy in reverse and the fairy in reverse. The I want to say changeling, but copycat fairy that's out here shape-shifting and doing all kinds of fuck shit. And I don't remember who got activated. All of the archangels got activated on their side except for Archangel Michael and Archangel Sakiel, which is Jupiter. So the Sun and Jupiter. And then on my side, it was, let me see. On my side, it was Archangel Samael, which is Mars. Cassiel was like completely covered in the wax, and then Aniel partially, which is Venus. Cassiel is Saturn, for those of you who don't know. Now, what does that mean exactly? It just means like, I'm not really sure. I don't know. What does that mean? I don't even know how I would, like, pull for that. You know what? That's up for y'all to decide. You can figure that out on your own if you really even care. It's whatever. I know I've talked about this before, and, like, I know I asked AI what it means. They were just, I think AI just said, like, it means, like, the energy was activated, like, that particular angel was activated. For whatever, like, you know, the trial was about. Like, I inscribed on the candles things. So whatever that was about, that's who was involved in activating that inscription, okay? So then I guess, okay, so that makes sense. And then, so the only ones that weren't involved was Archangel Michael and Archangel, what did I say? Sakiel, yeah. On the other side. And then for me, it was, no one was involved except for Anael, Zamael, and Cassiel. So, okay. Alright, new data center will be partially powered by human brain cells for the first time. This is crazy. This is reminding me of, like, Fallout, the new show on Prime. It shows, like, how the main character's father is this, like, science mastermind. I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, basically using a human brain to power stuff, okay? Alright. Well, you know what? What do we want to say about that? Do you want to say anything about that? What are the intentions with this? Because I find that to be a bit disturbing. I mean, they already do. I feel like they already do that. The new data center, the one in New Jersey. They're going to use my brain cells or something? Is that what they're fucking with me? Bystander wants to choose divine, benefic, unconditional love, guided by highest self, but are held on the fence by fear. And I just heard shit slam and an energy blast come through. It was like a reverberating lower one, but it hurt my brain. Actually hurt my brain. They're held back by fear. Oh, we didn't do the fear cards. Let's see. What are they afraid of? Okay, hold on. Oh, I gotta get out of here. I gotta wrap this up. What are they afraid of, Spirit? Okay. Becoming sad and disappointing others. Aww. Alright, guys. Well, you know, if you do the right thing and it helps people, then it's fine. But if you're causing suffering, then it's not fine. If you're causing suffering, undo suffering, okay? So, like, you know, if you're exploiting somebody and they're suffering, like this brain or whatever is aware and it's, like, hurting and it doesn't, you know, want to do that, then you shouldn't be using it. Okay? The apocalypse. Okay, yeah. Alright, so I think that's good. We got an idea of that. Astronomers release massive set of virtual universes for global research. I just found that interesting. I'm not really sure what that's about. Domestic violence in reverse. So maybe they're saying, like, they'll send the people that are doing the violence somewhere else to a different universe. Department, or they can figure out ways to solve that issue from these other universes. Okay. Department of Justice sues $5 billion technology company for excluding Americans from applying to high PA. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad to see some justice going on for something. At least they're making it in the news. What is that about, Spirit? Grief without social validation. Excluding, yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Grief without social validation. Under that, chemical and biological weapons. Okay. Panama's ocean lifeline vanishes for the first time in 40 years. I don't know what that's about. Nuclear weapons. Something with nuclear weapons. Lack of analytic hierarchic mechanisms when choosing favorites, i.e. vendor, employee, life partner, car, outsourcing partner. Just heard a loud bang. In reverse. Oh, yeah, I gotta get out of here. Hold on. I'll consider this later, but I do want to put this out here. Okay, so at the grocery store, I felt a vibration, like a scanning, like almost like when you put a GPay or an Apple Pay, I guess. I've never used Apple Pay, but GPay up to the thing, and it scans, and then it goes with the check mark, but if it doesn't, it makes a reverberating sound, right? This happened to me only 2 times that I've ever noticed, right? And it's probably happened before, but I didn't notice because I wasn't in alignment. So I wasn't able to notice it. But this happened the last Mercury retrograde, and I was at the grocery store called Weiss, and I felt something scan me by my pelvis area, and then it like did like as if it would be like a check, like ding, kind of thing. And then I heard some people, and I got the vibe they were Hasidic Jews or something, like, and they were like, yeah, it's kosher. Well, they said, yeah, it's all kosher. Everything's kosher. It's kosher. Everything's kosher. I thought maybe they were referring to the stuff I was purchasing, as I was trying to be very mindful of choice, avoiding cruelty, items with cruelty in them, because it was Mercury retrograde. I was trying to be very mindful. It's almost impossible to be entirely mindful, especially if you have kids, when you're extremely poor and there's like very limited choices. It's hard, okay, to do that all the time. The way things are set up now, okay? But anyway, I thought maybe it was something like that, and but now I'm thinking, so this happened yesterday, and it was like the vibrating feeling in my groin, like in my womb space, as if there's a device implanted in there, and I've been having cramping and pain. I asked for it to be removed today, and I've been going, number one, a lot, and then I've been seeing like stuff in the water, in the, number one, floating in there, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm starting to feel a little better. So like there's definitely something weird with that. But anyway, so this time it's like it didn't work, and then somebody, the intuitive heart whatever lady with the glasses and the blonde hair, she was just talking about, or no, was it her? No, she was talking something about like pleasuring yourself, like how they siphon your stuff when you do that. But because if you're not married, then it opens a pathway for them to be able to do that. That's what I've been told, what I've experienced as well, I guess. Yeah. There was somebody in the comments section, I'm trying to remember. There's so much disturbance right now. They're trying to block me from saying this. There's somebody in the comments section talking about a device that they had found. Oh no, it was a news thing that I was watching, like supernatural news kind of thing. I don't remember the name of the guy. He's on my enlightenment videos, my playlist. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom. He's like near the bottom somewhere. I don't know if I saved that one. I think I did. But anyway, somebody in one of his clips was talking about how they went to the gyno, they got a pap smear, and they felt like a part of their soul was taken from them when they put the device in there. They said it didn't hurt. Anytime I had ever gotten that, it fucking hurt really bad, and I was bleeding. But she said it felt like a piece of her soul was taken, and then she went to check up there later, and she felt a metal thing, something metal in there, and she asked like her doctor to take it out, and they wouldn't. So what I think is they might, when people give birth or when they go to the gyno, they might be putting some kind of device. They can also just, you know, MIBU, excuse me, spiritual burp. They can also MIBU, you know, with the, and just do whatever the fuck to you. You know what I mean? While you're sleeping or whatever. So I think there's some kind of device that they're putting in the womb space of women. Potentially they're doing this to men as well. I don't know. It might just be something that scans the root chakra, and then what I think it's doing is it's hijacking the crown, and then that's how they're siphoning, that's how they're harvesting energy, or they're hijacking stargates by shooting whatever it is up through the root into the crown. Perhaps, what did I write here? Yeah, perhaps a device is in there, like they implanted it. Yeah. So I think because my purification process has surpassed whatever their technology is at this point, they weren't able to hijack my crown this time, so it got blocked, is my theory on it. But yeah, okay guys, so that's what I have for you. I gotta go. Let me do a fortune for y'all. So pick a number between 1 through 5. And I'll do an angel card as well. Number 1, your fortune is seek professional help when your mental health needs it. You got understanding. You might be going through some rough shit right now, but be careful who you get professional help from, okay? Because a lot of times they're trying to hijack your shit, and they're not trying to help you. So be careful with that. All right. Number 2, you can have anything you want if you want it desperately enough, okay? I guess because where there's a will, there's a way. Truth. We got truth. Okay. You know, because if you really want it from your true heart space, you'll figure out how to get it. All right, number 3. Do it for your community 2020 census. Oh, that's on the back. The most important relationship in your life is with yourself. Peace. Learning how to love yourself. I talked a lot about that in my last reading, if you want to go watch that one, okay? Number 4, you got education is the movement from darkness to light. Something you need to learn about involving regional conflicts. And you got forgiveness. Okay? And number 5, the most important relationship in your life is with yourself. I pulled that again, okay? And then what card do you have? You got 2 angel cards. Oh, this one's blank. It just says the Transformation Game, which is what this deck is from. Maybe you should buy that game and try it out. It's a very good game. By Drake and Tyler, 1981. Willingness. Yeah, being willing to try it. It looks like this. You can even play it by yourself. You're supposed to play with other people, but you can pretend you're playing with other people by rolling for them and stuff, and making up like say like you want to play with the angels or a person that from your past that's no longer here because you need some closure or something like that. You can do stuff like that, okay? Alright guys, that's the messages I have for you for today. I hope that this helped you in some way. If not, oh fucking well. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!